Hello and welcome. I'm Wise Old Tree, and this is a review of Dimension 20, Season 22, Never Stop Blowing Up. Starting with an overview, Never Stop Blowing Up is a live play tabletop RPG series produced by Dropout and released in fall of 2024. It's a 10-episode series, with episodes averaging under 2 hours apiece. Brennan Lee Mulligan is the game master for the season, with the players being Isabella Roland, Alex Zongja, Jacob Wysocki, Ife Nwadiwe, Ali Beardsley, and Rekha Shankar. The characters are employees of a soon-to-be out-of-business video rental store who get sucked into the world of an action movie and must live the lives of the high-octane action heroes they now inhabit. It's kind of like Jumanji, but after the initial premise, it's a no-rules, fast-paced action thriller where the leads have the bodies of action stars, but the minds of small-town fans that now inhabit them. For my overall impressions, this is another season like Misfits and Magic or Mentopolis that uses a modified version of the Kids on Bikes game system. If you've seen those seasons, then you will have a good understanding of how the game works, although there's plenty of new mechanics that are explored throughout this season. If you're not familiar with Kids on Bikes, then rest assured that it's a system that's easy to pick up from a viewer perspective without any prior knowledge. Now, it's hard for me to convey what exactly this season is. After the initial premise, the majority of the season plays out like a cheesy action thriller. Because the rules within the world of the video don't need to be bound by a simulacrum of physical reality, things start to get crazy really fast. I think the first time this truly sunk in for me was when we meet a group of martial artists who travel by backflipping at 15 miles per hour. And it only gets crazier from there. This season is what happens when the game master decides to yes and everything. The players seem a little surprised by this at first, but once they learn that's how the season is operating, the table starts crafting some truly amazing and unhinged works of action ridiculousness. To try and explain the chaos a little bit, I'll describe something that happened in episode 4. Jacob's character, Greg Stocks, is participating in a street race in which, and I quote, "Driving better makes you go faster." Greg, driving thousands of miles per hour, decides the best thing to do is turn his car up and launch it into space. And yet, somehow, this street race turned space launch isn't even in the top 5 craziest things to happen in this episode. And there's more to this season, like the emotional arcs of the non-action hero characters coming to terms with what to do once the video store closes. But the escalating action insanity within the action world is such a strong presence of the season that it completely dominates the presentation of Never Stop Blowing Up. The overall casting for this season was great, getting players that really deliver in chaotic energy for a chaotic season. But the standout for me was Rekha Shankar, who plays Usha, aka the oldest woman in the world, who in turn plays G13, aka every hacker in every movie. This is Reika's 4th season in Dimension 20, and this season especially feels like a perfect fit for Reika's personal brand of chaos. Even the other players are surprised by some of the things Reika tries to do, and honestly, I can't think of a better compliment for a season like this. As for a rating, I'm going to give Season 22 of Dimension 20 Never Stop Blowing Up a 4 out of 5. I had such a great time with this season. The escalating action is fun and does feel like it captures the spirit of old cheesy action movies. However, the season is slower to start. The early episodes aren't boring per se, but there is a lot to set up, and the true action craziness doesn't really get going until a few episodes in. Likewise, the ever-escalating insanity does reach a point where it becomes too silly, the last few episodes being so unmoored from reality that it starts to kick me out of the fantasy of the narrative. But the middle of the season is really strong and peak Dimension 20 content. The season isn't quite as impactful on subsequent viewings as my all-time favorite seasons, but it's still absolutely worth checking out. All right, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and see you next time for Season 23, Misfits and Magic, Season 2.